Welcome to the Health by Haven podcast. I'm your host, Haven Quinlan. If you're a multi-passionate wellness enthusiast, then you're in the right place. I'm obsessed with learning as much as I can about the wellness world, and I want to share that with you. Each episode will dive into various aspects of health and wellness through inspiring and informative guest interviews with some solo episodes thrown in. Tune in for all things health, and let's have some fun, shall we? Welcome back to the Health by Haven podcast. Today is a super fun conversation with Dr. Rachel Heller on running and physical therapy. Dr. Heller is a physical therapist, yoga teacher, and marathoner located in Charleston, South Carolina. She earned her doctorate of physical therapy from High Point University in North Carolina and recently opened her own business to help clients stay off the sidelines and keep them chasing their goals. After running her second marathon, the New York City Marathon in 2024, running has become a huge part of her everyday. In the episode, we discuss her first marathon, running the New York City Marathon, why she became a PT, starting her own practice, how to prevent and rehab common runner injuries like runner's knee, plantar fasciitis, and hip flexor strain, and so much more. Rachel is so much fun to talk to, and this episode is packed with so much actionable advice. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Rachel Heller to the Health by Haven podcast. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us on the Health by Haven podcast today. I am so thrilled to chat all things running and PT with you.
Me too. I'm so excited. I appreciate you having me.
Okay, so if anyone doesn't follow Rachel on Instagram, you should. You have very fun content. It's beautiful too. I'm like, actually I need to get like video skills from you, but very fun content. So go follow her, but also super informative stuff about physical therapy and running, kind of like the blend of the two. I can tell you are super passionate into it just from your online presence. And so I kind of want to just get started for people who don't know you. Like, can you fill us in? Tell us a little bit more about you and also how you came to the field, both of PT and of running, like how those things intertwined and are your current love and work.
Yes. When I went to physical therapy school back in, what was that, like 2017, 2018, I'm from Philly originally.
Okay.
And so I moved to North Carolina, High Point, which is where I went to PT school. And that's really where I started posting on Instagram just about my physical therapy experience, things that I was learning. Wasn't really that big into running at the time. And I just wanted to stay connected with my friends and family from home. I was like, don't forget about me. So I'll just post on Instagram so you can't forget about me. And my best friend, Claire, she had signed up for a marathon in PT school, which I thought was insane.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Talk about like time commitment.
Yeah. I was like, we are in the craziest season of our lives right now. And you are going to add on to that by running and training for a marathon. So in solidarity, I was like, I'll do the half marathon. You can do the full marathon.
We love a supportive friend.
And that was, I had done half marathons before in college, but it wasn't serious. Like I wouldn't have really called myself a runner. It was just something that I did for fun. My friend Claire, she really did inspire me to keep going. I ended up also running. I know before this we were talking about like when you ran your first marathon. I ran my first marathon in 2020 as well.
No way.
But it was in January. So
right
it
before
happened.
The pandemic. Oh my gosh.
Right before shit really hit the fan.
Yeah.
And it was in Charleston, which is kind of funny because that's where I am currently.
Okay. What race?
It was actually the Charleston Marathon, which doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, I was gonna say, wait, I've heard of Kiowa, but I didn't know Charleston had one.
Yeah, it was. There weren't a lot of spectators. The route was a little dodgy.
Yeah,
some parts. I would not have done it again. Okay, but yeah, that was my first marathon. I told myself I would never run again.
Not a good experience then.
The wall at mile 19, I will never forget that feeling. And that's when I like pledged to myself that like, this is a one and done for me. So Then I ended up moving to Charleston and really was like, okay, now I'm really not getting into running because it's just so hot here. So I
Swampland,
swampland.
swampland.
Yeah, so I wasn't gonna get into running, and I got more into strength training.
Mm,
And working as a physical therapist was super passionate about strength training,
mhm,
using the barbell. I mean, using all types of equipment that, like, as a female, I had just never used in the weight room before in high
mhm.
school, and then I didn't play any sports in college. I'm not that athletic. Um, and so yeah, strength training was super empowering. And then in 2024, I was just feeling honestly like my life was too comfortable. Like, I had an
Yeah.
amazing job. I had just met my now husband. I loved where I was living. Like, everything was just going so well. I was like, I need to like add my own level of adversity into this.
It's going
And
so well. I need
so
to mess things up a little bit.
I need to shake things up a little bit. So I signed up for the New York City Marathon.
Uh-huh.
Um, and that experience really changed my life. I chose that race. Like, obviously it's an incredible race, incredible marathon,
Hmm.
but the race itself was on the 9-year anniversary of my dad's passing.
Oh
So that
gosh,
just
I'm so
gave
sorry.
me, yeah, thank you. That just gave me like so much more purpose to, like,
Yeah.
keep running through the swamp of Charleston and, push through those miles. Um, and after that, and just posting about my training experience and just seeing how many people were kind of like, seeing you train for that race and like the reason why you train for it and all that stuff inspired me to like run a mile today.
Yeah.
And I, after that race, I was like, I think that I could identify as a runner now and I want to do this again. And then now it's like, now I truly love running and it's definitely part of my identity for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm so sorry to hear about your dad. And thank you for sharing like that whole journey with us. I think you're right. Like, you never really know who you're influencing. Like, you don't have to be like a huge, like, multi-million follower person to be have influence on other people's lives. And you never know who you could be
Yeah.
inspiring to get out the door, lace up their shoes, like whether it's their first run or their first 5K or their first marathon, whatever. That's so incredible. And that kind of leads us into some of what you're doing now, because I know that you've kind of recently transitioned from maybe a more traditional, what we think of like a traditional 9 to 5, where you're like working for another company, to setting off on your own. And I believe you're doing some run coaching as well. So talk to me a little bit about that and how that's going.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm someone who personally does not love change. So I decided to just do all these things all at one time. May May of this year was a crazy month. I left my job, I got married, and then I started my own business. I do online rehab and run coaching, and it has been so fun to work with runners, whether they're training for their first marathon. I have a runner who's trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon, which is incredible. Um, I think there's like a movement of running right now,
Oh,
which
big time.
is big time. Yeah, I think, there's pros and cons to that, of course, but
Yeah.
it can be a really accessible sport if you let it be a really accessible sport. And I think that
Mhm.
that's what I like the most. And especially people who are running their first marathon, I think that is kind of I don't want to say like my favorite type of person to coach, but I think your first marathon is the hardest because
Yeah.
every single time you set out for that long run, it's the furthest distance you've ever
Yeah.
ran. Like, you're literally PRing every single week. Like,
Yeah.
mentally, that is so challenging. And I just love to walk through that journey with people.
Yeah, gosh, it's such a special time because you're right. It's like I used to get nervous just to go out on a long run. You know what I mean? And it's
Literally,
like,
yes.
it's not even a race. Like, I'm the only person putting pressure on myself, but you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't know. I've never run 15 miles. I've never run 18 miles. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. But at the same time, you're proving to yourself, like over and over, like you're stronger than you thought. You're capable of like big, scary, hard things. And that you're right. That's just such a special time, I'm sure, to work with people on.
Yeah, it's awesome. And for them too to be like, "Oh my gosh, I did it. Oh my gosh, I did it." And celebrating those little wins along the way. And I mean, there is a huge part of marathon training where like you really just have to trust the process because
Yeah.
I think another thing that confuses people is like, well, if I'm going to train for a 5K, I'm going to probably run a 5K before that. But
Yeah.
with a marathon, you are not running a full marathon before your marathon. You're just preparing your body to be able to do that. And that can really
Hmm.
get in people's heads too of like, I, to them, they might be telling themselves, I still don't know if I can do this because I haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely scary. It's also, it's so special because then you still get that, oh my gosh, I've accomplished something I've never done before on race day, the
Yeah.
26.2 miles. Whereas, like you said, in a 5K or even a 10K, like maybe you have run that distance before. This is still a huge first, which also part of what makes that first marathon so special.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's chat about New York for a minute because I just ran it last November as well. And it's like the best day of my life. I loved it
Oh
so
my
much.
gosh, we're in a New York sandwich. I ran it in 2024. You ran it in 2025. I'm running it again in 2026.
Ah, okay. Okay. So you're going back only 2 years later. So I have a feeling you enjoy the experience, but like talk to me about what it was like running it, in addition to like having this greater purpose of like being there, knowing your why is like celebrating the memory of your dad as well.
Well, I feel like getting to the starting line itself was also a little bit of a marathon that I
Oh
think I
yeah.
wasn't super prepared for. Like, the buses and the
Oh,
ferry and the
yes.
walk, like getting to Staten Island. Like, by the time I got there, I was like, and now I have to run 26 miles.
It's like a multi-hour process just to get to the start
Yeah.
line, which is crazy.
I had to bring like three, Uncrustables.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I was training for that race, I really wasn't trying to hit a personal best. I mean, it was only my second marathon, so
Yeah.
I was hoping to PR because my first one, I was just trying to survive. But
Yeah.
um, I mean, the electricity of the city, like I never thought that I would get to mile 16 and be like, oh my gosh, this thing's almost over. Like I better slow down. Like
Yeah, because you don't want it to be. It's like a
you
party.
Yes, it really felt like a party. And it was so inspiring because like I knew my purpose. Like I knew that like I was running this race on a day that has always been so heavy and a day that I just like wanted to be over. And
Mm.
so to be able to be in that race and like experience so much joy and I didn't want it to be over was it was really hopeful. It was really awesome. Like I did cry, obviously, because it was just like overwhelming with like love and support. But it was more so like it truly felt like a celebration. And I mean, everyone's grief journey is different. And even though now it's been 11 years, like it still feels like it was just yesterday. So,
Yeah.
um, but my family came to the race. My mom came to the race.
Oh,
My friends from high school were there, and being able to like stop and see them and not worry about time. Like I hugged them, we danced.
yeah.
Just being able to like, live in that moment while like so much is going on around you. My Was he my fiance? No, I think it was just my boyfriend. Well, my Thomas, my now husband, he was there and his brother was there. Um, and so many like the fact that you can track people on the app, like I
Yeah.
had so many of my friends being like, "You're crushing it! Like we love you! Like keep going! You're doing amazing!" And like and there's so much like leading up to that. And I mean, with social media, being able to bring people along for the journey,
Mm.
they feel like they're a part of it. And I think that that's awesome. Like, when I watch people who are running marathons, I'm literally screaming into my phone, like, go, 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 go. And I know
Yeah.
that they can't hear me, but you just get so invested. And Yeah, the race was incredible. Once we were in Central Park, that was when I started to like get a little choked up and I was like, oh my gosh, I might cry. But then I was like, when like your throat gets a little bit tight when
Yeah.
you're I was like, if I cry now, I will not be able to breathe. So no more tears. We'll push them down for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And we'll just keep going. And then you turn the corner and you see the finish line. And I mean, really, it's hard not to think about the 4 months prior to that got you here. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is an epic race. And then afterward, you have to walk like 2 miles to
Brutal.
find your friends, find your friends and family.
Truly.
Worth it though. It's so worth it. Um,
Yeah. Gosh, I remember
yeah,
people telling me like, "Oh my gosh, this race is unmatched. Like there's people cheering the whole time." And I'm like, I mean, they're probably exaggerating. Like there's probably a few really good cheer zones, but like the whole time and it's like, no, literally the whole time the streets are lined. I mean, you're right. The energy is just it's palpable. It's unmatched.
yeah, it is awesome. And I had my AirPods, but I don't think I even really used them at all.
Hmm.
Um, One thing that I thought was tricky, I had my name on my bib, like I just like wrote my name. And I
Hmm.
was like, I want people to cheer for me. But
Hmm.
like as a spectator, I think it would be so hard to spectate that race because everyone was cheering for you. And so you can't really hear when like your people are cheering for you
Yeah.
because everyone's cheering for you. So like logistically being like, okay, I'm gonna be having like Thomas be like, I'm gonna be at mile 18 on the right side. The sign I have is blue. And like you really like I know that some people go to these majors and they like or like New York specifically to PR, but like I would want to see my family and I can't imagine being like, I have to keep up this pace, but I'm also trying to like find my husband,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you do, you're right though. You have to be so specific about that. Like which side of the road, like which cross street are you on? But you were able to see them where they were
Yeah,
spectating?
I saw
Amazing.
them all. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I was on one at the very end. It was like mile 23. I was like on the opposite side. And I just happened to like look directly to the left and I saw my mom and I just
Oh,
like beelined over. I was like, I almost missed you
oh
guys.
my gosh. It was like meant to be then. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, and then how did
Yeah.
you go celebrate after?
Um, I literally hobbled to Thomas
Yeah.
and we managed to walk back to my friend's apartment. I took a shower and then we went to the same place we went to dinner at I forget what the Italian place was, but we like did our pre-race carb load at this
Oh yeah.
amazing Italian place. And then it was so good. I was like, I think I need to go back there. So we
Okay.
just went back to the Italian place. I had an Aperol spritz and
Oh,
some chicken parm, and then I went to bed at like 8:30.
I mean, truly sounds like the perfect celebration after such a taxing day.
I felt like on Monday, like I could put my medal back on, and
Oh yeah.
I was like, okay, medal Monday. I'm ready to walk these streets with my medal and celebrate. I think after the race, I was like, I need to lay down.
Yeah, well, and those majors start so much later in the day than a lot of like
Yeah,
standard races. So you really don't have as much time to celebrate at the end either.
seriously, I didn't go off until like 10:45.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think that's great. And I'm glad you wore your medal on Medal Monday because I mean, you earned it.
I
26.2
wore it on the
miles.
plane. Yeah, I wore it to
Yeah.
work the next day.
Yeah. Everyone treat me like royalty, please.
Yeah, just for a couple of days, then I'm back to being like regular Rachel.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so when you're doing injury prevention and rehab with people, are you mostly working with runners or is it a little bit of everybody?
A little bit of everybody. I think
Okay.
that, like, if you didn't know me and you just looked at my Instagram, you would probably think, wow, this girl only works with runners. And I think it's funny because I think it will likely shift. Like, right now,
Hmm.
I'm really into running.
Hmm.
So I really enjoy treating runners. I'd say, like, 3 years ago, I was like super, super into yoga. So I really love
Hmm.
treating yogis.
Okay.
And then, I think in a couple years, like when I'm a mom one day, like I'll love love treating moms. So I think
Yeah.
it's fun that, I think my career will just be kind of fluid with the things that I'm interested in.
Well, that's
Um,
amazing because then you're attracting that energy, right?
yeah. Yeah. I actually love treating people with like chronic low back pain. Um,
Okay.
I experienced a bit of back pain myself in 2022. And I think also like being able to go through an experience just as a provider helps me relate to my patients on such a deeper level.
Hmm.
So yeah, I definitely see like a little bit of everything, even though I do love posting about running.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you and me both. Okay, so let's use that as an example then. Like chronic low back pain. Someone comes to you and they're like, I don't know what's going on. I've tried everything. This is what's happening. My low back is flaring up. Like let's use them as a case study. Let's have a little fun. Like what would you, I don't know, talk to them about, get to the root of what's going on? What are some exercises you guys would do maybe in clinic versus like they could do at home on their own? What would that look like?
Yeah, so with people with low back pain, I spend a lot of time talking to them about, obviously like their history and their symptoms, but also just what they believe about their pain. Because with chronic pain and with low back pain, it's very easy to get into these headspaces of like thinking that you're fragile or that you're, just never going to be able to live without this pain. And a lot of times when I ask them their goals, like their goals are not even to be pain free. It's just to be able to have like a manageable amount of pain. Like they're too hesitant to say I want to be pain free because they don't believe that it's possible.
Mm,
Um, and with the spine, I think that there's a lot of misinformation out there, but I think, I mean, even when I was in school, we learned the jelly donut narrative of like, okay, you have your disc, and then that's like a jelly donut, and then when you have a herniated disc, the jelly comes out of the donut,
yeah.
and it it made sense at the time, but someone who has low back pain is gonna hear that and think like, wow, is my are my discs really that fragile where it just takes like a little bit of pressure
Mm,
or like I bend over the wrong way and then my disc herniates.
mm,
Um, and then I think a lot of people think that they have to go through like a surgery route and
hmm.
where really it can be treated conservatively. So I really like to get a baseline of how people feel about their pain that they're experiencing, how their pain is affecting their lives in terms of stress and just their mood, their outlook on life. And I always like to give people an action item along with exercises to try to desensitize their nervous system and desensitize their body to certain movements, but also an action item of like, how could we just improve your quality of life? I don't know. It could be anything. Like if they really want to get back to tennis, maybe it's just going outside and like watching people play tennis
Mm,
or watching tennis on TV or like getting your racket out of the closet. Like what's like the least threatening step that we can take to just
mm,
move forward in some capacity? Because once you start to get people thinking that, okay, maybe she could help me, maybe
mm,
my goals are possible, then you start to have that buy-in and they are willing to try. And also, you need that buy-in as a provider because especially with low back pain, when we are feeling pain, that doesn't mean that we're causing any type of tissue damage.
mm,
It just means that your body is really sensitive to that movement. A lot of times it's from avoiding the movement for so long, but your body is telling your brain that this movement is threatening, even though it's like a false signal. It's not threatening at all.
mm,
And so I think once people understand pain a little bit more and that it's not black and white, it's gray, and how your thoughts and feelings and emotions around pain affect your pain experience in, in a negative way, but also in a positive way. Like the opposite is also true. It gives them more agency and more power to be like, okay, the pain's not in my head. That's not what she's saying. But every time I bend over and I feel that familiar sensation, it doesn't mean that that more jelly is coming out of my donut, right?
Mm.
My body is just experiencing this signal, and this is a hopefully like a level of discomfort, the sensation that they're feeling, that they could potentially work through. And so that's why using like repeated motions or any type of graded exposure, where like if you do the first rep, it's probably going to hurt. Second rep, we might be more hesitant to do it, but it might hurt a little bit less. Third rep, fourth rep, you're retraining your brain and retraining your body that, like, okay, I can do this and it's
Mm.
not painful. And then each time you prove to yourself something that you thought you couldn't do, it's like a check in the right direction, a step forward. They get that buy and they feel more confident. And then once the confidence clicks, then it's like, we're rolling.
Yes. Okay. I love that. And we spend a lot of time on this podcast in different facets talking about that like brain body connection, mind body connection, you know? And I think that, yeah, some people can almost think, oh, that's so dismissive. Like they don't know the pain that I'm feeling or whatever. And, or like take it like you're saying, oh, it's all in your head, even though that's not what you're saying. And it can be a challenging thing to, I don't know, to like grasp and accept that like maybe it isn't all just physical, like maybe there is that mental component as well. I mean, same thing with like I had chronic GI issues for years, you know, and I was like so hell bent on like this is not in my head. This is not stress related. This is not anxiety related. There's something like physically going on. And it's like,
Yeah.
maybe, but also maybe there is that connection with like stress and nervous system. And so, how do you approach that? Like, does anyone ever come to you and they're like super hesitant to like have that buy in?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tough conversation to have, especially because by the time most people see me, they've seen the orthos, they've seen the surgeons, and they've felt dismissed before. So
Mm,
the last thing that I want to do is just be another provider that makes them feel dismissed again.
mm,
But sometimes, like, they'll come in with the image, and they'll be like, "I have this MRI, and it doesn't show anything.
mm,
But why am I experiencing this pain?" And so when they have that image that doesn't physically show anything, me being able to provide this reason that, and it's not even that I am like, this is the reason,
yeah.
but I just try to give them like tidbits of information about how complex pain really is. Like, there's like
Mm,
41 centers in our brain that contribute to our pain experience. And we
wow.
don't even know all of the information that there is to know about all 41. We usually only talk about three.
Wow.
So the experience itself is so complex. And I also like to tell my patients and clients that pain is like physical and emotional, like
Mm,
100% of the time. So we really can't even separate the two. It's never just in your head, it's never just a physical sensation. Like they're always going to be connected. And sometimes we can feel like pain for a multitude of other reasons. Like they're usually likely very weak in multiple areas,
mm,
in addition to having all these beliefs and like because their capacity is just so low.
mm,
So I'll just kind of talk about like both things with them
mm-hmm.
and definitely validate like how they're feeling. Like, this must be incredibly frustrating. It sounds like you've been dismissed before. That is not the experience that I want you to have. And I just try to pre-frame what I want them to take away.
Mm-hmm.
And, I have had plenty of times where I will say something and I'll be like, you know what? That didn't come out the right way. Let me try again, because it is a sensitive subject. And even though I'm speaking English, they're speaking English, sometimes they don't hear everything I'm saying. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes after I had this whiteboard and I would draw all this stuff on the whiteboard and draw a brain and draw and be like, does this make sense? Tell me what you're taking away from this. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they'd be like, are you telling me that it's in my head? And I'll be like, no. So I think it just takes it takes layers, but you know, if they're willing to come in and have a conversation with me and trust me, then I'm not trying to change all of their beliefs and I'm not trying to change their mind completely in one session.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like sometimes if they can leave being like, I'm open to learning more. I'm open to this idea. Um, and a lot of times like the big stressful moments in their life are correlated with flare-ups. And I think it's easy to take that as there's something wrong with me,
Mm.
but it's it's just the way that our bodies and our nervous systems work. So, and it happens across the board. And I also think sharing my experience with low back pain and just client stories of other people, I mean, it's very similar cases that come in, and it makes patients feel good when I can tell them, like, I had somebody just like you come in to me last year, and
Mm-hmm.
now they're running marathons and picking up their kids. And you know, I think that they don't have to be 100% in on day one. Usually they're not. Um, but I do tell them what I need from them. And usually it's that I need them to communicate with me openly and trust me, and we'll just take it one step at a time. And I really try to encourage that, like, we are going to walk through this together because it's not going to be linear. You are likely going to have flare ups, but that is just part of the process and part of the journey. Um, and I try to not promise a, you know, overnight in a week you'll be good, because it does take buying and it does take time.
Yeah, well, and you're putting that onus on them as well, but saying like, I'm not going to throw you to the wolves. Like, I'm here to help you along the way. And the fact that you're validating their frustrations, but also telling them like, we might need to reframe things. We might need to try other things. It might not be linear. Like, that is setting them up for success in the long run, because then they're also not spiraling if they're starting to make progress. And then one day they wake up and they're having back pain again. They're like, oh my gosh, like it's all ruined. I have to start over. So I think that's really like a
Right.
beautiful gift that you're giving them, truly.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Let's pause for a moment, especially if you're in the postpartum season or getting ready for it. After birth, so much of the focus shifts to the baby, and it can be easy for your own care to fall to the bottom of the list. That's why I love the postpartum support package from Avoda Massage Therapy. It's built around the idea that you deserve support too. This package includes 2 75-minute in-home visits, so you don't have to pack up yourself or your newborn to get care. You'll also receive 2 postpartum massage sessions designed to help your body rest, recover, and gently release tension from pregnancy and birth. Avoda also includes a castor oil pack and a reusable heated water bottle, so you have simple, supportive tools to use between sessions when your body needs a little extra warmth and care. The full package is available for $680, offering consistent, thoughtful support during a really tender time. If that kind of postpartum care sounds like something you'd appreciate, you can learn more about the postpartum support package at avodamassagetherapy.com. So let's marry these two things, running and PT. You know, selfishly, I'm a runner, but I know we have a lot of runners who listen to the podcast as well, or a lot of people who want to be a runner, but they're like, every time I try to run, my knee hurts, or, you know, something like that. I'm sure you've heard, right? Over and over.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like, let's go with that first. Let's go with knee pain. Let's say someone's either a runner or they want to be, but every time they go out the door, they're like, oh, it just hurts my knee so much. Or like, you know, I'm sure you're a runner. People ask you, oh, doesn't it just like kill your knees? So let's go with that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
What are some exercises or some strengthening mobility activities that people could be doing if they're experiencing knee pain to help with that?
Yeah. So this is a great question, and I get this question a lot. When people come to me, you know, maybe I might see them out running and they'll run next to me and they'll just like tell me what they have going on. And it's a tough question to answer because I don't want to give them the wrong information
Mm,
if I'm not able to assess them.
yeah.
And the first question that I usually ask people is about their training load.
Mm.
Because with runners love to do more.
Mhm.
And a lot of times they think that I just need to do XYZ like exercises for my knee.
Mhm.
Runner's knee, patellofemoral pain, those are very common diagnoses that runners can have. But sometimes it's not just about adding in the exercises, it's also about having some kind of deload or taking something away. Because if
Mm.
the training load is too high, if the mileage is too high, if the speed work is too much, if the knee's having a hard time handling the repetitive, constant loads, and we never take that stressor away or the volume of that stressor away. Like, I know a lot of people might be hesitant to, a lot of runners might be hesitant to see somebody because they don't want to be told, well, just stop running.
Mhm.
And the answer is usually not stop running. But if we could turn that dial down a little bit, then we
Mm.
can turn the other dial of strength training, then we can turn that up a little bit.
Mhm.
So if I was dealing with a runner and I suspected that they might have some kind of like patellofemoral knee pain going on, we talked about their training load. They agreed that, they feel good around 15 to 18 miles per week, but once it gets above that, then it gets to be a little bit too much. If we stay around the 15-mile range per week and we add in 2 days of specific strength for them, uh, I would probably have them do. I love this one exercise that I got from one of my mentors, Chris Johnson. It's called the barbell toe tap. My colleague Emily just told me over the weekend that she uses this exercise and she calls it the Rachel, which I think is hilarious. Um, but essentially, you have a barbell on your back and you have your knees bent around the same angle that you would be in mid stance of running. So when your foot is
Mm.
flat on the ground in running, your tibia angle is here. For those people who are listening, they can't see what I'm doing. But your knee is bent probably at around like a 45-degree angle,
Okay.
maybe like a 30 to 45-degree angle. Let's say your right leg, all the weight's in your right leg. Your left leg is just kind of tapping behind you, not quite like a reverse lunge, but almost
Mhm.
at like a 45-degree angle, like a skater.
Mhm. Okay.
And you're doing that for time. So maybe you start with 30 seconds, then progress up to 45 seconds, then progress up to a minute. With like a decent amount of weight on your back. Um, if I was doing this with someone, I'd probably start them out with the bar and then 10 to 15 pounds on each side for 30 seconds. If they could tolerate that, then we'd work our way up. But
Mhm.
I love the barbell toe tap. Um, I love working with knee over toe exercises. So
Mm.
these might be less tolerated in the beginning.
Mhm.
Um, so we might start with a rear foot elevated split squat. Everyone loves a rear foot elevated split squat. But keep working with the shin staying vertical and then
Mhm.
gradually exposing the quad to more stress by cueing them to, okay, now bring your knee a little bit more over your toe so that the
Mm.
shift or that the stress can be shifted from the glutes into the quads.
Yep.
So we got the barbell toe tap. We got the rear foot elevated split squat. I also love Spanish squats. Have you ever done a Spanish squat?
No, tell me more.
Okay, Spanish squat. I feel like describing them is so hard. I'm such a visual learner.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Um,
I'm like asking you to describe all this stuff on an audio podcast. People are like, what is she talking about?
what is she saying? So YouTube Spanish squat.
Yeah.
Um, but you have a big long band, and you'll wrap it around a rig or a pole or something,
Mm.
and you'll step into the band
Hmm.
so that there's a band behind your knee.
Okay.
So the band's behind your knee, you're attached to the pole, and you just squat down and up. And when you squat down, your weight kind of shifts back, and you might feel like you're going to fall over. But when you stand up, the band kind of pulls you forward, where you might
Mm.
not be able to extend your knees all the way. But it is such a quad burner. Like, I
Oh.
love this exercise. Guys, try this at home. It's great. Spanish squat. It's one of my favorites.
Okay, good to know. I'm gonna look that up. Thank you for that advice. Okay, another one. I'm not sure if you hear this frequently, but this is something I've personally dealt with, and I hear a lot of runners deal with is plantar fasciitis. Is this something
Oh,
you work with,
yes.
and do you have recommendations?
Yes. Plantar fasciitis is so tough. I do have a couple clients right now who are experiencing plantar fasciitis. Um, and it is something that physical therapists can treat 100%. I think it's just more so than ever important to set expectations with plantar
Mm-hmm.
fasciitis that like this is going to take a long time. This is going to take a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and really calming it down is probably the most important thing. Um, other, I think some other types of diagnoses tend to calm down a little bit sooner, but plantar
Mm-hmm.
fasciitis can take a while to calm down. So wanting to just limit your step count. I mean, plantar fasciitis, depending on how bad it is, definitely hard to run through.
Mm-hmm.
Some people can, and if you and your physio talk that through and it feels appropriate to, then like by all means, this is not me saying you can't ever run plantar fasciitis. But if it's really, really bad, then running through it and running will likely just make it worse and irritate it more. So
Mm-hmm.
I think having a good shoe, a good cushioned shoe always helps. Um, Decreasing our step count. There's these boots. They're kind of like boots that you can wear at night to just put your foot into more levels of dorsiflexion
Mm-hmm.
to try to offload the plantar fascia. I've had some clients where this works really well. I've had some clients where it maybe doesn't work at all. Um, but I think it is worth trying because my clients that I have now that use it really, really like it. So
Okay.
I'm usually hesitant to recommend things that like cost money
Yeah.
for clients. There's a lot of stuff out there that is probably bogus, but because of the nature of plantar fasciitis, I think it's something that could be helpful for them. And then once it kind of eases out of that like super irritated
Mm-hmm.
state, then it's calf strengthening, intrinsic foot strengthening, getting those tissues to be, to increase the capacity of those areas to have them tolerate load, first wanting to get them strong, then wanting to reintroduce that plyo and that impact. So
Mm-hmm.
banded pogo jumps. And for some people, that might be too much. Like you might have to do something where you're kind of taking gravity out of the situation and just maybe you're just, this wouldn't be taking gravity out, but it would be modifying where you're just seated and lifting your heels and then lowering your heels and kind of just adding that extra impact, that extra bounce, progressing your plyos, and then increasing your walking program, and then eventually transitioning to a walk run program.
Okay.
But if you're experiencing plantar fasciitis, definitely see a physio. I know that it can be super discouraging and it just takes time.
Yeah, it's no joke. I feel for
No
anyone
joke.
who's currently experiencing that because I have before, and it's yeah, no bueno. Do you ever recommend, like I've seen, you like get down the Google rabbit hole, right? Whenever you have an injury or an illness or anything, I've seen recommendations of like rolling your foot on a tennis ball or softball or like using those little like scraper tools on your arch. Like any of that, is that good? Is that bad? Or maybe it just depends.
I think it definitely depends. People who have a sensitive plantar fascia where like it's tender to touch, if it's already tender to touch, I wouldn't, I definitely wouldn't scrape it. I mean, I personally just think that scraping is a little bit uncomfortable and
Mm,
um, with certain things, I'm sure it could be useful, but I think if it's already tender to touch, it would be like having a bruise and just like pushing on the bruise. Like it's probably not going to feel good.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, but once it's feeling better, and if people like using the tennis ball or to roll out the foot as a way to kind of get those structures like warm, then they definitely
Mhm.
could. Um, it's kind of like stretching. Like a lot of people have different modalities of how they want to warm up. So
Mhm.
if they wanted to use that as a way to warm up their foot, they totally could. If they wanted to walk, then they could do that as well. So I think some of it is personal preference.
Mhm.
If the area is already like super tender and sensitive, I wouldn't want to like mash a ball into there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. Let's do one more little example. Another common area for runners, but also probably for a lot of people, would be hip flexor. Like if
Mm,
you're
yeah.
feeling hip flexor pain or strain or anything, what would you recommend?
So if this was a runner, which we've been talking about runners, I would first want to be very cautious of like, okay, they're telling me it's a hip flexor strain. Is that what's actually going on? Or as, with runners, like you got to have your bone stress injury antennas up.
Mm,
So if we screened for bone stress injury, there's not a bone stress injury. If we were super sure that like, okay, it's definitely hip flexor involvement, the last thing I'd want to do is to have a runner at home who's having hip pain and think, okay, well, listen to this podcast. It sounds like I have hip flexor tendinopathy. I should just do these exercises that Rachel said when actually it was a bone stress injury. So,
yeah.
I think just being really sure about like what we're treating, making sure that it is the thing. But let's say we did all the stuff, we did all the tests. It's definitely hip flexor. Then we just got to work on some hip flexor like exercises. Like these are some of my favorite and the most fatiguing and most challenging. Simply could be putting like a booty band around your feet
Mm,
and then kind of like putting your hands on a wall and then just lifting, kind of like doing a march, lifting one leg and then the other
mm,
leg up nice and slow. I love like a hip flexor glute bridge exercise where you are tying a band, like you anchor a band to a rig, then you loop the band around your foot, scoot your booty back so that there's tension on that band.
mm,
You're laying on your back in a glute bridge position, and then
mm,
you bring your knee into your chest
mm.
using your hip flexor.
Yep.
So when you extend your leg, there's still tension on the band, and then you bring your knee into your chest, use the hip flexor, and back out. I love
Mm.
that exercise. Another tough one would be putting a kettlebell around your foot to be in a standing position. I'm sure all these exercises have names, but it's kind of just like standing banded hip flexion, kettlebell hip flexion, so
Yeah.
trying to describe what they
Yeah,
what they
yeah.
are. That could be just having a kettlebell around your foot and bringing your knee into your chest, standing, lowering
Mm,
nice and slow. I like this one like on a box so that you can kind of
yeah.
get that full range as well. These are things that I would likely, after testing where their current capacity of strength was for their hip
Mm.
flexor, would be what I would like start them out with.
Yeah, okay. And
Yeah.
these are all like all these examples you're giving are great too because they're like single leg, which if you're a runner, like you're always on one foot pushing off to the other foot. So that can be like great like stability work as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, what about any advice for people like for longevity in whatever sport they're interested in, right? Like being able to have movement, whether it's tennis or walking or swimming or running or biking. Like they want to stay active as they're aging. Like advice for longevity in any of these sports and to have mobility without pain.
Yeah. I think this question can go in a lot of different ways because there are so many modalities for people to choose from with wanting to be active. And there really is no like right way. I think the right way, quote unquote, would be, are you doing something that you enjoy? Whether
Mm,
that's, I enjoy hiking, I'm going to go for a hike. I enjoy playing basketball, I'm going to play basketball. So whatever that activity may be, the work that we do in the gym, whether it's like training 2 times a week, 3 times a week, the reason why we do all that work is so that we can hike and so that we can play basketball. Um, and so if we want to keep doing those things, I do think that strength training is important.
mm,
Strength training 2 to 3 times a week, making sure that we're getting some axial loading. So maybe that's work with the barbell, um, using heavy weights for bone health,
mm-hmm,
um, you know, trying to fight against osteoporosis
mm-hmm.
and osteopenia. So I think strength training is very important and making sure that we're lifting heavy. Walking, there's tons of research on walking, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's 10 minutes a day, an hour every other day. I'm not sure what a specific recommendation would be for like a generalized
Mm-hmm.
population, but there's so much good research on walking and how it can improve longevity in your life in
Mm-hmm.
general. And then stress. I am so big on stress management and just having at least one thing that is non-activity related that can fill up your cup in a way where it relieves your mind and your body of stress. Maybe that's meditation, journaling, sitting outside, you know, touching the grass, whatever it is. I think that
Mm-hmm.
is so important for people in the long term. And I know that I feel different when I'm out of my meditation practice or when I take a break from journaling. Like I feel off. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm huge on stress management. Yeah, I could go on and on about that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You and me both. And I'm also like, find some joy in your life. Like, if you're not laughing every day, like, what is even the point? Like, that's such a great stress
Seriously.
reliever as well.
Yes,
I love it.
it is
Okay.
for sure.
Okay. Oh, final parting, like words of encouragement or advice for people who are currently sidelined from their sport from an injury. I know it is like such a devastating, frustrating time, especially if you had a big goal that maybe you're going to miss and you have to postpone that goal. Words of encouragement for those people.
Absolutely. I think that being sidelined from a goal is one of the hardest things because as time goes on and as the pain continues, you start to believe that you might never get back to your activity.
Mm.
Um, when I was training for the or right after the Chicago Marathon last year, I out of nowhere developed this knee pain. Didn't have it at all during my training, just popped up afterward. And it was super nagging, lasted for about 8 months. And
Oh.
I was starting to believe, even with all of the knowledge that I have, the research, being a doctor of physical therapy, I was like, maybe this is just what I have to live with now,
Mm.
which is insane, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, like, I took the right steps. I don't have this pain anymore. But there was a second, it was longer than a second, where I felt really stuck. And I thought that maybe this is just the card I've been dealt and I should choose something else or I should do something else. Maybe this just isn't the thing for me. And anyone who has been sidelined by an injury, no matter what the injury is, I would want to tell them that there is a way out. Even if they can't see it, the light might be so far away. Even if it's not physical therapy, like I'm biased. I do think that physical therapy could help, but there are so many healing modalities out there these days.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when people are stuck in pain and thinking about their goal that feels eons away,
Mm.
I think being able to look at the step in front of you instead of the staircase. Like maybe you started physical therapy and it's still hard to believe that you'll get out of this. Look at the step in front of you. The staircase is going to be there. One day you will look back, you'll look down the staircase and be like, oh my gosh, I've come so far.
Mm.
And it will take time, but I know that they can get there and I know that there's a way out. It's just about trusting the process, trusting your body, and finding the right coach, finding the right person that can help you because you also don't have to do this alone.
Mm, I love it. One day at a time, one thing at a time, and find people to support you along the way.
Heck yeah.
Amazing. Okay, I've got a couple of running rapid fire questions. This is purely your own opinion. This is not your advice, just some this or
Okay.
that. Okay, for you, running watch or no watch?
Running watch or no
Yeah.
watch? Like,
Like when you're going on a run, are you wearing a watch or not?
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some people are like, oh, I don't like to look at time, but I'm like, how? I'm obsessed with
Wow.
my watch.
G- Good for them.
Right?
I'm not there.
Headphones or no headphones?
Headphones.
All right. Are you listening to music or podcasts?
Easy run, podcast, long run, or speed work, music.
You and me both. Okay, glad we're aligned on that one. Morning or evening run?
Morning.
Solo or group run?
Kind of depends. I love a group run. I really love a group run. If I have like a workout, I know
Hmm.
this isn't rapid fire anymore. If I'm doing a workout and I need to like hit these paces or like really lock in, I got to do it by myself.
Mm.
Because if I'm with people, I'm just gonna like talk and yap and have a good time and not
Yeah.
hit any of my pace work. Yeah, I just started a run club here in Charleston
Oh,
and
fun. Oh
I
my gosh.
it's so fun. It is
Wow, we should
seriously
have talked
so
about that
fun.
too. You'll have to plug them. What's it called?
It's called Third Pace Run Club.
Okay, so Charleston Friends. Go check that
Charleston
out.
Friends, Friday, 6:30 a.m. We have a good time.
I love it. I love it. Okay, roads or trails?
Roads.
And speed work or long run?
Oh my God, that's so hard. Whoa. I feel like I want to say long run.
All right, long run it is. Rachel, it was so fun chatting with you. I could have asked you 10,000 more questions. So maybe we'll have to do a part
Oh.
part two. But for people listening, where can they follow along? Where can they find you online? Where can they work with you if they're looking for a PT?
Yeah, so my Instagram is the balanced rach. I love Instagram. I'm usually on there posting videos. My website is rachelhellerpt.com. I feel like those are the two things that are most easy to reach me. If you're in my DMs, I'm answering you. So yeah, Instagram's probably the best way to reach out.
Perfect. And go run with her if you're in Charleston.
Yes, Third Base Run Club every Friday.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thanks for having me. This was so fun. I do feel like we could have talked for hours. This was awesome.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Health by Haven podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to give the show a 5-star rating and leave a review. It makes such a huge difference in reaching new people and spreading the joy of healthy living. I would also be so appreciative if you subscribe to the show in the listening app of your choice so you never miss an episode. Your support truly means the world to me. Have a happy, healthy day, and I'll talk to you again soon.